Okay, in this session we're going to look at using letters to generalize a number. So this is where we look at algebraic notation. So you've looked at letters before. Now this is where language can sometimes throw people off. So write these expressions. Now these are all algebraic expressions without the mathematical operation signs. Now with algebra we do use the addition sign, we use the take away sign. What we avoid a lot of is the division symbol and the multiplication symbol. And I'm going to show you what that looks like because it simplifies what we are looking at. And this is something that we're going to notice a lot more as we continue through our journey with algebraic notation and expressions. So at the top here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 F's. Okay, so I've got 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and each of these are F's. So I have 6 lots of F's. So instead of having F plus F plus F plus F, I have 6 lots of F's, which I can write as 6F. So remember, when I join the number to the letter, that is the same as saying 6 times F, because this is 6 lots of F's, which is the same as saying 6 times F, but we don't use that multiplication symbol in algebra, so we will refer to that as 6F. If we look at the question right next to it, we've got here 7 times G. So I'm going to get myself 7 G's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each of these are a G. 7 lots of G, so my algebraic expression would be 7G. 7G. Let's move on and have a look at division. Now for this purpose I have pre-organized bars. Beforehand I used blocks. Now I've got pre-organized bars. So let's have a little look at t divided by 5. So t divided by 5, we know we have t, and we're dividing it into 5 equal parts. We're dividing by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what that would look like as a bar model. However, we don't write the division sign. So when we're looking at t divided by 5, t would be our numerator, and because we're dividing or putting into 5 groups, 5 would be our denominator because we're sharing it into 5 equal parts. We're sharing it into 5 equal parts. So those 5 equal parts would become my denominator. So t divided by 5 would be t over 5. Because I'm dividing that whole by 5. In the same way, if I had half, so if I had half, I've taken my 1 whole, which is here, my 1 whole, and I've divided it into 2 equal parts, 1 divided by 2. Same way, I've taken my t, divided it into 5 equal parts, t divided by 5. So if I bear that in mind, I've got on here, I've now got 5 divided by t. So I'm getting my 5 and I'm splitting them into t parts. I don't know how many t is going to be. I'm just hypothesizing here. So to write that, I would take my whole, which would be my numerator, and I'd be dividing it by t, my denominator, into t equal parts. So when it comes to division, we're taking our whole, so I'm going to use the highlighter here, our whole, and we're dividing it into the equal parts. Dividing it into the equal parts. Now for these next ones, we have m times m. M times m. Now this is not 2m. Okay, it is not 2m. 2m is m plus m. Okay, 2m is m plus m. But there is a skill that we can apply here. When we think about any number, so in this case here, we know that m is going to be the exact same value. When we apply that notion, we end up with a pattern. And I'm sure some of you can begin to see this pattern already. And you'll notice that the answers to all of these are, yep, you've guessed it, square numbers. Square numbers. So with my m times m, how I would record that as an algebraic expression is m squared. M squared. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm squaring m. I'm timesing it by itself. So in this case, I'd refer to that as m squared. Okay? The final one is not dc squared. It's not dc squared. I'm taking my d and I'm multiplying it by c. I don't know what the value of each of the numbers are. dc squared would mean that I'm taking d and I'm timesing it by c times c, because that would be c squared. This has similarities to if I was taking 7 times g, for example. So for 7 times g, I had 7 lots of g. Here, I have d lots of c. So I would have it as dc. That would be my representation of d multiplied by c. Now I'm going to give you a couple down the bottom for you to have a little go at, and then I'll reveal the answers afterwards. So I want you to have a go at these, and then I'm going to reveal the answers. If you need to re-watch the explanation, please re-watch the explanation that was given before. I'd recommend you pausing in a moment, because I'm going to go through the answers in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here are your answers. How did you get on with that? So here we have r squared, 4p, 3 divided by d, and dA for d.